Welcome to Aunty Lou's Hour. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Right, I am absolutely so pleased that I finally have a heterosexual man living with HIV on Aunty Lou's podcast. Yay. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
for
I'm
having
gonna
me.
oh, you're welcome. And I'm gonna start off by saying, so we you joined this podcast, but you needed to go for a run first. What about? You needed to go for a run. You said, "Oh, I'm gonna be late. I have to go for my run first
I
before I
know,
join the
just
podcast."
black people, I tell you, we always late to everything.
Do you know what? I've got to give it to you because I think it's important to put your own well-being first. So that shows that you prioritize what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
So,
I I apologize. I'm usually on time for stuff, but
all right, listen, I'll let you off this time, but tell me, Andy, what part of America are you from?
I'm originally from Chicago, but now I live in Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas. Right.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, listen, let's get into it. I just have to say that when I found you on social media, I found a heterosexual man, all over social media with his wife slash partner. I'm not sure you married or is your partner.
I, I had to check to see if I was still a man.
And it was just such a joy to see. It was just really nice to see because you don't often, or I haven't come across many people on social media, many men, heterosexual men on social media with their partner out and proud.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my biggest thing was that I am a HIV positive born man, heterosexual. And as a kid, I didn't see a lot of that. So it was just always HIV and LGBTQ being synonymous. And it was like, well, where's my story? So I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that I created that narrative that yes, heterosexual men are living with HIV, are in a heterosexual relationship.
100%. The thing about it, HIV doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter. You don't
Absolutely.
have to be a certain whatever color, race, country. If it happens, it happens. It's just one of those things.
Absolutely.
Apparently, on this universe, people have sex, and when that happens, things
Who
happen,
knew? Who knew adults have sex?
yeah. So, talk about your upbringing. Like, what was it like when you was younger? How was life for you growing up?
For me, it was a little different, but not by much. I tell people that like I was a normal kid. I used to love watching WWE as a kid, so me and my friends would always wrestle, and nobody was ever like, "Oh, be careful, he's the kid with HIV." No, it was just like, all right, if I get a busted lip, go, get a paper towel, clot the blood, come on back. So it was a normal upbringing for me. The only difference was that my friends would know that every once in a while I would have to go to the doctors. I mean, they wouldn't know why, but or if I would go to sleepovers, they knew I had to take my medicine.
Did your friends know that when you was younger that you were living with HIV?
Only my trusted friends. I
Yeah.
put it the mantra in my head that if I saw myself run into a burning building to go save you, you're worthy enough to know.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
everybody
Wow.
didn't need to know because I mean it didn't affect me or everybody. So just take my medicine every day, go to the doctor every once in a while, you're fine. Why everybody needs to know.
Yeah. So how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I am 24 for the seventh time. Sorry, 32.
Okay.
I was trying to
So
see how long
yeah,
I could hold that.
yeah. So no, the reason I'm asking is because, like I'm assuming that the medication, how many pills you took, the medication regime has changed over the years for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a point in my life where I had to take like 10 pills, 5 in the morning, 5 at night. Now I'm just down
Mm,
to 2 pills every day.
yeah.
So
Now we've got a saying in London, like it's not that deep. You know, like
Yeah,
it's not that deep. Do you say that in
yeah.
America as well?
Oh yeah, we definitely say that here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, all right, two pills. What's the problem?
Yeah, that's right. You know, I always say, like, and it's not about HIV, is it? It's not actually
It's
because once it's under control, you know, you take your medication, can't pass it on, now what?
right, right. Meanwhile, there's people out here living with all types of other stuff, and I'm like, all right, y'all more contagious than I am. So why y'all looking at me like I'm the biohazard?
I got married last year, and sorry,
Congratulations.
so the person that you live with, your partner or wife, how was that? She obviously didn't think it was.
Yeah, well, one, she's educated on HIV and AIDS, and so that was a major point about it. And then two, I mean, she was interested in me. She wasn't interested in me and a virus. You know, she was just like, "Well, are you taking care of yourself?" Of course. All right.
Mm.
Well, let's continue to educate ourselves. Let's protect each other, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it was just
Hmm.
basically, I like you. I love you. And once you're
Hmm.
looking after yourself, you obviously said enough to her to explain about how you take your medication and
Yeah,
transmission, and she was cool.
and totally fine with it. So,
Mm.
and that's kind of where I hope a lot of people would see is that, like, I mean, for a long time, I had the conversation with her before where when I was a teenager, I thought of myself as unlovable because I was living with this virus that I was born with. I had no control over.
Mm.
But now I'm looking at it as, all right, people with HIV need to learn that we are worthy of to be loved. Like, and if somebody don't want to love us, there's the door. Bye. What are you here for?
100%,
Hmm.
100%. So you do like I'm not sure. I know you're a comedian, but is
Hmm.
your comedy around HIV or is it around? Tell me about your comedy.
Uh, of talking about being born HIV positive and trying to erase the stigmas, and then there's a lot about just life, about being black, living in Chicago, things like that. So now writing material about being a dad because my girlfriend has two kids, and now insert stepdad point of view. You got a whole list of material there.
Yeah. You know what just popped into my mind? I remember I've got like three kids, and I remember my oldest son, this was before I told him I was living with
Hmm.
HIV. I
Hmm.
remember they were making like jokes about stuff, and he goes, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get HIV in my neck." As a joke. He was just like in joke. And I was living with HIV and I was kind of like laughing, thinking,
Hmm.
obviously, he made it as a joke, but
Yeah.
it can be funny.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People always. I remember specifically in college, we had a class called Culture, Race, and Media, and the or the question the teacher asked is, "Can anything be funny?" And me and another my close friend Max, we were the only two people to raise our hands, and I still stand on that because I think with good intention, anything can be funny. I joke about HIV and AIDS for a living, and
Yeah,
people
yeah,
love it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's something about taking ownership because, as you know, medication is so good nowadays that people don't
Hmm.
actually, get AIDS. It's all about,
Yeah.
managing HIV and it gets managed so well. But there's something about reclaiming that
Hmm.
word AIDS and
Hmm.
making some jokes that people kind of can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm,
And the thing is that like we live in a world that's so dark that as comedians, that is our job is to make fun of
yeah.
the dark things that we have to go deal with and make it be like, see, it's not so bad if you look at it this way.
Mm. So I want to know, I want to go back a little bit with you. So,
Sure.
what was it like? Like, so when you was young and you knew you was living with HIV, like, what was it like for you, like dating as a heterosexual man,
Sure.
particularly?
Dating was non-existent for me just because, as I mentioned, it was like, all right, nobody's gonna really want a kid with HIV, and I really put that stigma in my head.
Mm.
Um, and then, and once I got into college, I was just like, oh, okay, I am somebody that can be worthy, as I mentioned before, worthy of being loved.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I held on to that mantra. So now I tell people being HIV positive, the only symptom I got is I just keep getting sexy. Like
Mhm,
that's it.
mhm. So what was it that made you realize that you're worthy of being loved? Like, do you remember?
I think it was a lot of just learning more about HIV, learning more that like
Yeah.
I'm fine, I'm normal, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not all these stigmas that society makes us out to be. You know,
Yeah.
society want us to be out with like a thing around our nose and all types of things like that. And it's like no, we're normal people just like everybody else.
Yeah. So, like, I understand what you say about the stigma, because for me, the self-stigma was worse. There wasn't any real stigma externally. It was all me
Hmm.
in my head. And
Yeah,
what you say about being worthy of love, who's gonna want me? Just can't get my head around. So straightforward. Once you're taking medication, sit on. So
yeah, yeah.
why are we still in a society where people, don't understand that?
You know what I think it is? I think it's a lot of we were taught wrong. And once we're
Yeah.
taught something, it's like first impression. So it's like you're gonna always hold on to this first
Mm,
impression of this virus that we were
mm,
taught. No matter all the commercials that says prep, no matter
mm,
all the commercials that says you equals you, people still are holding on
mm.
to, oh, HIV means that you're about to get AIDS and you're about to die.
You know what it is? It's about sex. And
Hmm.
people have issues talking about sex,
Hmm.
having sex, what it is. You don't
Yeah,
forget you've got this, you've got systems in place, you've got racial systems, you've got misogyny, you've
yeah,
got, classism, ageism, you've got religion. I mean, I was
yeah,
brought up Catholic, I went to a convent, I'm a good
yeah.
girl, but you've got
Hmm.
all systems in place that hold us as human beings. And we all try and stay, and no, I say we all try and stay. These systems are in place.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult to kind of navigate yourself out of it. But it's sex,
Hmm.
you know? HIV
Yeah.
in a male means you're gay. HIV in you're a woman means you're a, I don't know how you say it in America, but in England we'd say slag.
Oh yeah, lesbian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ho, maybe that's the word. Yeah.
Hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
Hmm. Yeah, and I get it all the time. Like I'll tell people, "Hey, I was born HIV positive." Oh, but you must be down low. Which I don't know if England's the same thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
yeah. And it's like,
yeah.
I just told you I was born HIV positive. I didn't even have sex before I had this virus, so it's like, how can I be all of that? And so it was just like we live in this society where stigma is rampant just because we live in a society that nobody wants to educate themselves. Everybody thinks that they're impervious to things, they
Yeah.
can't get anything.
And the bottom line is you were born with HIV, Andy.
Hmm.
Even if you wasn't a down low, even if you were bi, you were gay, so what? Do you know what I
Right,
mean? That's your business.
right,
You had sex.
yeah,
Simple. And
yeah,
something, something happened, or so, that's why it doesn't really matter. I
hmm,
don't think it is. As when people say, "How did you get it?" Some of the things that I want to say, but I
yeah,
stop myself from saying it. But
sure,
so what? And I don't know about you, but it feels like for you, I know it is for me, that HIV has empowered me to be free.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. For me, it was the same thing. 2017 was when I launched my Keeping It Positive campaign, which is where I
Oh,
just flipped the switch. I was 5 years into stand-up comedy at that time, but I was like, all right, I want to kind of focus a little bit more on HIV, and I basically told the entire world, hey, I'm HIV positive.
mm,
And it was like a relief off of my or what they say, the weight of the world off your shoulders. Just because it was like I don't have to be so quiet about this. Now I'm actually educating people about it. People that had no idea that yes, you can be straight with HIV. Yes, you can live long. Yes, you can have children with HIV. All these things.
yeah. I was talking to a black Caribbean British man, and he
Hmm.
said to me that he thought HIV was like Ebola, like it
Hmm.
comes and it goes and it's not around anymore. And I do
Hmm.
think, and the fact, I really admire the fact that you use comedy,
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
just as comedy, but also to talk about HIV.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's because I think the biggest thing was that I was, as somebody that had this thing his entire life, I was sick of hearing all the jokes that had like four facts to them, like very untrue
Yeah.
facts. And so it was just like, all right, what if I did joke? It was funny. What is kind of contradictory to that is that I'm doing jokes about factual information about HIV, and then there are
Mm,
some people who are like, oh my God, you can't make that joke. And it's like, but you guys are
yeah.
doing it my entire life.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I mess around and if I'm talking about HIV and I say, you can't get it from coughing, then
Hmm.
or I
Yeah.
touch people and say, well,
Yeah.
make it into a joke, but you can't.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Can't
always threaten to cough on people that don't laugh at my jokes just because it's
really.
like, you're
You
still in the stigma.
got
So
HIV.
I'm going to help you believe in the stigma if that's what you want to stay believing in when I'm telling you facts.
Yeah, facts. Tell me about the
Hmm.
work that you do.
Oh yeah, so as I mentioned, I do stand up comedy about HIV and AIDS. And then I also go on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, educating people with funny videos. What else? I sell merchandise. I got a book. So though the proceeds to those things go to one of my favorite organizations, Keep a Child Alive, which is Alicia
Uh-huh.
Keys' organization. Actually, no, they help third world countries get access to HIV treatments. So all the proceeds go to them, not even to me. Um, what else did I do? I do a lot. I do a lot. So I just try to make sure that somebody that, like I said, had this my entire life. I had a ton of help. I want to make sure that I give back, in the same way that I've had help. I can help the other people.
So, was it difficult or easy for you to access support when you were younger?
Um, I think it was easy. I definitely had a good line of doctors and nurses that definitely
Mm.
helped me out. Shout out to Lurie's Children's Hospital in Chicago. And then they also created like the Junior Council, which is a nonprofit organization that helps kids at that hospital, have mentors so that they can know that yeah, you can live a long life
Mm.
and happy and all these things. So they were definitely my support beam in the beginning.
That's great. So here's a question. Let's talk about rejection.
Sure. Done there,
So
been that.
tell me, because look, hard enough being a young person and
Hmm.
navigating your way through, matters of the heart. And when you've
Hmm.
got HIV on top of that, my God, you've got to have that discussion. So what was it like rejection? I do love that
Hmm.
topic. What was
Love
it
it.
like? Yeah. How did you tell me about times when you were rejected? Hey,
So before I met my lovely girlfriend, well, I'm trying to propose too soon. But I was dating around, and there was a girl that I was actually really interested in, and she was interested in me. However, I told her about my status, and then she started to act a little
oh,
funny towards me.
oh,
And then she told me that she told her mom about my status, and her
yeah,
mom was definitely 80s mindset. Why would
yeah,
you be with somebody that's telling you that
yeah,
he got AIDS? And I was like, whoa,
yeah.
AIDS, when did I have that?
Oh,
I ain't never said that. And so, because she was still in that mindset, and because she was living with, her mom and hearing all that, she rejected me. She did not want to deal with that. And then I had to constantly tell her that, for one, I got AIDS, but HIV is contained, in me. I've
yeah,
had this thing contained for years,
yeah,
almost my entire existence. So it's like you're stuck on this little bitty part of me, but you're missing the
yeah,
fact that I'm a giver. That
yeah,
I sing, I play piano, I do poetry, all these attributes about me, but
yeah,
you're stuck on this one little part that's
yeah.
contained. So
And so you experienced rejection.
oh yeah, absolutely. And so for that, like I just look at it as it was supposed to happen. Like the my girlfriend now is the woman of my dreams. So it was like, thanks the
Before
Lord.
before we go on to your lovely girlfriend who you're with
Sure,
now, when
sure.
you were rejected when you was younger,
Hmm.
now be honest, how difficult was it or easy was it for you to carry on, to get back on the horse and date again?
Sure. I think because it's funny, it's like a beautiful disaster. Because I constantly lived in this idea that nobody's going to want me. I think the rejection was a little bit easier because I expected it. And so when I was interested in a girl and she didn't want me, especially if she found out about my HIV, it was just like, all right, didn't hurt me because I expected it. And so as I got older, it was just like, now I'm like, she didn't want me. That's her loss, especially if she don't want me because of the whole HIV thing. Because
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're missing out on all this sexy.
yeah. Well, when I first started dating, living with HIV,
Hmm.
medication, everything's, contained, I can't
Hmm.
transmit. I started going on the HIV dating sites and I was
Hmm.
scraping the bottom of the barrel. I
Hmm.
because I thought, well, a normal guy wouldn't want to be with me, so I'll just
Yeah.
have to stick with people who are also HIV. And I tell you,
Hmm.
it wasn't pretty,
I
you
get
know,
a lot of backlash because was it Positive Singles is the app.
something
Um
like that. Yeah,
yeah, I get a lot of backlash because I tell people I refuse to go on that website. I was on it once and I was just like, this ain't for me. And I tell people the reason I say that is because I don't want to pigeonhole myself and put myself in this little box and say,
yeah,
oh, I can only be with somebody with HIV. Because society tells me to do that. And I'm like, to society, like, what?
absolutely.
How are you gonna tell me who I can and cannot date?
Yeah, no, that's 100%. But and I do want because it was a few years that I was on those sites, and then I realized, what am I doing? And I thought to myself, you know what? I understand that it's not that deep. I've got my medication, fine. Yeah. And if
Hmm.
I have to find someone that
Yeah,
gets that, if they
yeah,
can't get that, that means they're narrow for me,
yeah.
maybe they're narrow-minded in other areas as well. If they
Hmm.
can't get past that, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah,
mm,
and I mentioned too with that, I guess I should add on to it is that like, yeah, I'm not saying that I would never date somebody with HIV, but I'm not going out searching for HIV. I was before I met my girlfriend, I was searching for somebody, right?
yeah,
If she had
yeah,
HIV and we had that chemistry, so be it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not just about HIV. There's all different sorts of STDs. There's herpes,
Absolutely.
gonorrhea, what's the rest of it?
Hmm.
Chlamydia,
Hmm.
all those things to contend with.
Absolutely.
I wonder how people navigate that, you know?
Because it wasn't on the news as much, I
Yeah,
guess. So
yeah, yeah. So listen, if you like, what would you tell your 14-year-old or 15, 16-year-old self what you know now? What would you say
mhm.
to your 14 or 15 or 16-year-old self?
I think I would say
Spot yourself.
that life gets easier when it's known. And I think
Ah,
that's kind of where I was stuck at was that, all right, how do I hide this long enough for nobody to ever figure out, especially high school? Listen, my actual
yeah.
name is Brandon Cox Sanford. You know how hard life is to be living with HIV and your last name is Cox?
Oh,
And you're trying to tell people that you are a straight man. That is, and then I got cousins that are Johnsons. Like it doesn't get any
yeah,
better than that. So, to have to make sure that like nobody knows that yes, you're living with this virus to protect your I guess your confidence. You know, because high
yeah.
school kids are mean. I work at a high
Oh,
school. They so mean.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
I think one thing that I will say is there are a lot of heterosexual men living with HIV. Shout out to you lot.
Hmm.
What would you tell those men, heterosexual men out there living with HIV? What is your message to them?
We can talk about it, especially the heterosexual black men. We can definitely talk about it. We don't have to be so quiet about it because I think silence and stigmas are the things that kill people more than HIV. So yeah, we definitely gotta share these information, because the more that we talk about it, the more educated we become. The more educated we
Yeah.
make our partners, the more we can prevent, this transmission from happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I really enjoy talking to you,
Of course,
Andy.
likewise.
Is it Andy Cock or Andy Brandon Cock?
Oh,
Oh,
just Andy Feds, Andy Feds.
oh, Andy Febs. Okay, we don't
Yeah,
use your surname.
yeah, we'll trim that part out.
Okay, we'll cut that out. Um, yeah, no, it was lovely speaking to you, and I'm so pleased that you agreed to come in. And I really do hope that, the heterosexual men in particular out there, be it they're living with HIV, or be it they've got
Mhm.
another STD, or they have some hidden secret that they feel
Mhm.
ashamed of,
Yeah,
it'll be okay.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So how can people get in touch with you? Give me all your socials.
Andy Feds Comedy, AndyFedsComedy, or AndyFedsComedy.com. That's AndyFedsComedy.com.
Yeah.
Just make it easy.
All right, I'd love to have you on again, but for now, thank you so much, Andy.
Most definitely. Thank you for having me.
Okay, stay on the
Thanks for watching Aunty Lou's Hour. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.